There's Flora. There's Bucky burning his tail again. He just burnt his tail here a little while ago. This is me, Michelle, and this is our videographer for the day, Shelby. Welcome to my she shed. Oh, hi. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, so it's a shed, but it just got put up in the last, got put up right before the winter started, and it's very plain right now, but this summer it will be decorated and it will be christened, my she shed. Christened? I'm going to pass this over to our videographer and we'll start our chat. Alright, so welcome to She Shed Show.
See, I feel like I'm being...
We're awkward.
I guess questions, but
So how it went. What we're talking about is vaginal steaming. Vaginal steaming, woohoo! And I want you to say what it is. What is vaginal steaming? He's the one that was the first person that I ever heard of that was going to give this thing a go. And then you said, oh yeah, so-and-so does it. And it was like...
Well, I first heard about it. I think I probably read an article on Facebook. I think one of the pages that I follow.
Yeah.
And then it was Tina, my friend Tina, who she's a massage therapist, but she does something called our Vaginal massage, which is I don't even know if I can describe that. I mean, it's an ancient Mayan form of
Isn't that interesting?
manipulating the uterus that, was done for years and years and years, regularly in women's health.
What kind of massage is this?
Arvigo, it's called.
How do you spell that?
Arvigo. And that, I was first introduced to that. There was a naturopath here in Nova Scotia who was doing it years and years ago. When I first found out that I had endometriosis, I was looking for ways of treating it naturally.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that I was introduced to. But at the time, she was only doing workshops or something. You had to go, I think she was in Berwick, and you had to go down to Berwick years and years ago. When I first found out that I had endometriosis, I was looking for ways of treating it naturally.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that I was introduced to. But at the time, she was only doing workshops or something. You had to go, I think she was in Berwick, and you had to go down to Berwick to take...
Now I pulled the hair out of him by standing on him. He burnt his fur earlier, and now he's really stood on him.
Chewing that stick to pieces. Anyway, so just in terms of, I don't know, it was probably time and money, whatever, I can't remember. I mean, this is back in the 90s, the early 90s. I just, shortly before Tina decided to go, and she took the course in it, and she teaches it to her clients in Toronto.
She took a course in the Arvigo?
Yeah,
And vaginal steaming is part of that?
Well, no, I think it's part of the whole, whole ancient art of, women's health probably was the steaming came along with it. And so...
Do tell us more.
Hi, Bucky. Come on over. I'm here to go over and say this. So, I read something on Facebook, and then, Tina had started posting stuff about doing it, and I read a really great article. I don't know if I ever kept the article on the actual art of doing it and its benefits, and don't lick my lips.
He will
don't
stick
lick my
his tongue
lips.
right down your throat.
No.
Without getting too far into the details, we took on doing it. We didn't research, like we researched just a little tiny little bit, like the very basics of it. So basically,
Plus we had talked about it.
And then just because we wanted to talk about it, and I never did it before, but I knew that you had been doing it, and it just seems funny to me because, like, we asked you where you did it, and it came as a surprise to me. I never would have guessed that you did what you did. So, where do you usually do your vaginal steaming?
Well, I
In
have
the areas of vagina, yes. But where
in the house.
in your home, yes.
Well, I have done it in my washroom because the toilet is a really great receptacle. That's my pot,
This is
right
exactly
It fit perfectly
And
into the toilet.
there. It
this
does.
is
Perfect.
This is what Shelby used last night.
Yeah.
She hovered her vag right in this area right here.
Yeah.
So, based on what she had told me, you lift the lid of your toilet, you set this into your toilet, and it sits on the porcelain bowl bottom, and the handles are like side to side or whatever. Then you put your toilet seat down on top of that and sit. So
perfect.
You've got the receiving
Some people
area.
do have, they make, I've seen pictures of stools, right? There's birthing stools that, that you can squat on that have the hole in them, and, it makes it a lot easier. Because the squatting, I mean, the idea is you need to be there for, I don't know,
20
20
to
minutes.
30 is what we did find something like
I think
reference to.
Even 10 to 15 minutes is a good amount of time, but to squat for that amount of time is challenging for the, for the
Right.
quads.
But interestingly enough, another article that was posted. We're on this website on Facebook in a group of women, and there was chatter about stop doing Kegels.
Yeah.
And
I stopped doing Kegels years ago. That's a whole other conversation.
that's a whole other conversation. So we'll keep that in Kegels.
Kegels are not. Kegels are. It's not. You don't get the full effect from Kegels, and in fact, Kegels can be more damaging.
No, we're not talking about it.
Oh.
We're talking about vaginal steaming. But anyway, at the same point in time that we're like, if you are practicing the squat, then you're getting that benefit of it as well.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
and we were talking about having it, or you we saw online people having commodes.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
yesterday
that's a great.
we actually went out shopping for
This is fantastic.
for that pot for Shelby. In Flora's family, she uses the stew pot, which I find very disturbing.
Why?
Um,
It's stainless steel.
yes.
If I use it in my toilet, number one, germs cannot grow on porcelain, right?
It doesn't touch the water.
And it's not touching the water, and I'm not urinating in it. And even if I was, it's stainless steel. It goes in my dishwasher. It gets steamed the heck out of and boiled the heck out of.
Are you okay with it?
Yeah. Josiah was hovering all around. It's nothing in my house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In my
It's a good
house.
thing.
In maybe someone else's house, the kids might be,
Yeah.
a bit turned off, but my children. So I don't. It's fine.
Yes.
I'm
Well, we
cool
bought
with
her
it. But I
own.
get having your own, and actually having a smaller one. Although this is probably a better size for doing it in the toilet. Like
Yeah.
yours would
Yeah,
not
this
be
for toilet was what we went for.
perfect, but
And-
your little
And then I tried a
French
bean
onion
pot.
soup
It's not. It's an old bean pot.
big box. Okay.
Look, this is mine. It's beautiful.
It is, and it's quite. Actually, I get what I didn't know what you were talking about.
Yes,
The
see
edges,
how
but
that flares
it's
out?
got good edges. I get it.
So when the steam came out, it was like this puff of steam.
Yeah.
And I chose to take the squatty potty that we also purchased yesterday, and I put it up against, not up against, but up against the bathtub. And we actually had like these little heat trivet thingies for not ruining the linoleum and not ruining the tile downstairs, because these get so hot that you could crack a tile.
Oh, okay.
So then there's the squatty potty, which is its own other story.
So many things I don't consider, but you do.
Yeah,
Oh, so that's what you
I
did.
did.
Oh, that
Are you getting this?
Yeah, turn this way
Yeah,
towards the camera just so they can
That
see.
works. That's really good because my last
And
one.
show how you opened your legs too. Like,
Yeah.
Did you have them like
Okay, so when I started my steam, I started like this,
Of course, you wrapped in a
and
blanket.
I wrapped in a lovely
You wanna
blanket,
Keep the steam in.
and you get nice cozy blankets. I had a quilt, and then I ended up with my feet together, like that, in bound angle pose.
You basically want to make a teepee
And I
for
made a
your
little
vagina.
teepee for my junk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and the steam came up.
And that would be, that would be more comfortable than, because my last one was, my family was everywhere upstairs and it was bedtime and people, so I couldn't use the washroom. I couldn't tie up the bathroom even though there's a second bathroom.
Right.
So I went into my bedroom and just on the other side of my bed I got into a squat with this and wrapped up. But I was literally holding a squat, which,
Right.
you know.
For pooping, it's a different position altogether. You're with this around your toilet. You sit on your toilet with this thing, and have a great poop. This is about colon health. Also a different subject.
Also a different subject.
But we bought this because I thought, okay, it kind of does both jobs.
Yeah, it's nice because it can get out of the mine. I just have I've got two stools that we had since both of the kids were little
Right.
for pooping, right?
Oh yeah.
Or climbing, right? And then I kept them because ever since I had Hannah,
Yeah.
so she's 15, I've always used a stool for a bowel movement, always, because it's changes that whole angle and everything just runs more smoothly.
Totally.
It's much more comfortable.
We
And
dig it. Yeah. So in the pot, you put water. How much water did you put in your pot?
I don't remember. I'm not a measurer, but a lot more than that.
A lot more than that.
I
Because
probably-
that.
I probably did
stainless
6
steel
cups.
pot, that was hot like for a long time on Shelby's cooch.
I probably did about 6 cups, I'd say, 6 cups of water, and I had a lot more herbs.
Our herbs are sad.
It looked like I had about, I
But
had
it smelled
a
delicious.
and actually the herbs that I used last time, so Tina sells the packages.
Oh,
like if you
cool.
live in Toronto, she's got the whole thing going on. She sells the packages, she does up the herbs. So there's about a cup of herbs in her little bag. So there's about a cup of herbs. And of course you've got, mine was all loose, so it looked like more than that, right?
Do you know what she had in her feet?
In that one, I don't remember, to be honest, but, and different herbs for different things, obviously, and that's something that I don't even want to speak to that because I'd have to actually look that up. And,
Right.
You know, I mean,
Just on the quick, we did fresh rosemary, and then like nothing else is fresh right now. So
no, I used dried herbs.
Okay.
It was a package of dried herbs that she had probably dried herself, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Right? And most likely organic. It's a good idea that they be organic, obviously.
yeah,
Because you're steaming them and it's getting right into the tissue, and you don't want the chemicals that are sprayed on, which is, one of the big issues with endometriosis is that,
all of our stuff.
environmental toxins and,
Right.
there are so many things I think that contribute to
So-
endo.
So what's vaginal steaming supposed to be good for?
Well, the overall health of the vagina, the uterus, like the entire area, the steam is absorbed, and of course the essence from the herbs are absorbed into the body. So it's great for people who suffer from premenstrual stuff, endometriosis or menstrual cramping.
Turns out that we
PMS.
saw fibroids on there too.
Fibroids, for sure.
Which I have 3 of.
Yeah,
Stay there for
absolutely. It can reduce cramping, not just when I say, to me cramping and pain are 2 different things. I've suffered from endo for years, so it can reduce cramping and it can reduce pain. And also helps just to flush out, because depending on the shape, of every woman's body, every month when we have our period and we shed the lining, I know with the way that my body's shaped, my uterus is retroverted, so therefore everything isn't eliminated.
What do you mean retroverted?
So I've got a tipped uterus. I
Oh.
have a tipped uterus, so
Tipped back.
and mine's tipped back.
So usually
So your uterus
the
is
vagina goes in like anterior, posterior. Your vagina kind of goes in towards the posterior, and then your uterus sits on top of it. If you were looking sideways, your uterus sits on top of it. Hers sits that way.
yeah.
And
So which means that when I shed the lining monthly, it can get stuck. So
here.
I have a lot of dark blood at the end of my period and at the beginning of my period, and those mean very different things as well. But that's really common for women who have a retroverted uterus. And I didn't know I had a retroverted uterus until I was probably in my mid to late 20s, probably my late 20s, when finally a doctor said, "Oh, you have a tipped uterus." I had no idea, right? I mean, I had many paths before that.
Yeah. The PAP is only looking at your cervix, so like seeing past your cervix.
Well,
to
they
know
can
which way it is.
tell, but I think it wasn't necessarily useful information, and I had mostly male doctors.
Yeah.
So the first time I had a female doctor,
Don't even get us going on that.
she decided it was important information to tell me. So yeah, so the other thing is doing the steams will help to on your next period, you should eliminate more of that stuff that's getting stuck in there, right?
That's what you said.
And that's something that you may or may not notice, and you probably will notice. So since you've done your steams now, on your next period, it's possible that you're going to notice that a lot of clumpy, dark stuff might come out.
Okay, well, last night I was not on my period or menstruating, but this morning I am.
Ah,
And I'm also
were you due?
I'm not, like, my body has no schedule, and I usually don't get my period at all because I have the IT.
Right, you
Marina.
got the Marina.
And, yeah, I have really bad cramps this morning, too. But last night I felt totally warm and relaxed, and I had a good sleep. But when I woke up, I was menstruating, and I also have really bad cramps.
So the other thing that I didn't think about too was, whether or not there are any contraindications in terms of the vaginal steaming and the Marina.
And you said, interesting. You
Because if
said
your body could be actively trying to eliminate the Marina. Who knows, right?
Yeah. You said not to do it if we were bleeding.
Yeah, don't do it when you're menstruating.
Why not?
Why not?
Well, because I can't tell you for sure, but I would assume that it would be because that's when it's your body's actively working and eliminating.
That's one of the only ones.
And you don't want to do that. This is sort of a restful, restorative kind of thing, and you don't want to do that when you're actually menstruating.
Yeah.
like anything else, when a woman's menstruating, there are so many other things that we probably could avoid. I don't want to say should, but could avoid.
Right.
Whoa!
We're good.
Yeah, so, anything else that you wanted to report from your blanket experience, your vaginal steaming experience?
No, other than that.
Mine, I chose to go away and go through a bit of a process, and I put candles in the bathroom. I put candles in her bathroom too, but then you left the lights on.
I'll take my boots off for them too.
I thought that it would be funny at one point. Like, I don't know if Bucky came to visit you, because there's a cat door in the bottom of the bathroom door downstairs, and I can just imagine Bucky coming and looking at her.
Sticking his head in. He did. He always does and everything.
What is going on in the toilet?
Yeah. What is that woman doing in there?
What is she doing?
So upstairs, I created an ambiance, and I was a dirty, dirty person, so I got clean. And then I anointed myself with oil
Lovely.
and wrapped myself in my blanket. And I had a towel down on the floor, and I had like towels to make this more comfortable. But it really worked. Like, this is the squatty potty again, right? And I was sitting here with the pot in here, and I made a little tent for myself, a nice little, I was thinking kind of like,
I think I have one to say. I just want to go and look at this article that I keep going.
like a sweat lodge kind of feeling, you know, there?
Yeah, well,
And I
because
put
it
my-
is ritualistic, right?
Yes, yeah. And I put on my headphones, and I put on Lane Redmond's Chanting the Chakras.
Oh, that's
And
nice.
she's playing the drums, and there's a couple of people, there's a male in it that is chanting with her. Oh, it's delicious. It was delicious. I was in there oming away. You probably heard me, did you? I was oming away in there for at least half of it, for about 10 minutes.
I stayed in the bathroom for quite a while. Like, I think I was in there for over 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Can't get on here.
I was in there for going on an hour, but it was only about 30 minutes over the steam,
Yeah.
and it was great.
Another really nice thing to do, but it's not warm enough yet, is to actually before, so the night before you're going to do it, to sit your herbs out under the moon, under a full moon. So yeah, they're infused with the moonlight, and then, which, by the way, did anyone see the moon last night? I woke
did.
up to the moonlight in my bedroom,
beautiful.
and I actually, literally, I moved my entire pillow and body over and
Into
fell
the
back asleep in the moonlight, and then woke up again, and it had moved again, so I moved back.
Yeah, like a cat, you know? Yeah.
Because especially when it's your cycle, it's so nice. Saved. Last week.
Okay, last night we boiled the water and then added rosemary, and we went for tea because I thought that would be really excellent.
You went for tea? Say again.
We put tea bags in there.
Oh yeah. Well,
Chamomile and lavender, and there was
It was
something.
organic.
yeah. I think that if
And
it is,
tea
it's-
is dried herbs. So I
Right.
don't see. It was lavender and lemon balm and what else was
Chamomile in the tea, and then we had fresh rosemary added, and it smelled divine.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
really nice.
And my vagina felt very relaxed afterwards, like very soothed, ready to go to bed. However, I was very horny, but I didn't do anything about it. I was like, I think I'll just stay with it.
Be warm and just wrap yourself in a blanket and
Yeah, and kind of be with yourself.
yeah.
Lately, we've been really busy around here, and I mean, you're busy like that all the time. and we're going to do another episode of She Shed Show Vag Steaming, episode 2.
Thank you. And just
How long did you
scroll
boil
down.
your herbs for?
Probably 10 minutes.
You boil your herbs.
Yeah, I probably boiled them for 10 minutes. And then just let them sit covered until I thought they were cool enough. The very first time I did it, ouch,
Oh,
I burned myself.
that's not good.
No, it wasn't good. It was, yeah. And they had cooled quite a bit, but I mean, that's the steam and that area of the body.
Yeah, I kept on,
Pretty
right when I was getting
sensitive.
going, I was like, you know, like, okay. And then when I get waves of steam, I kept on thinking that I was peeing myself, but I wasn't. It was just waves of steam.
Yeah, it was a nice sensation.
Yeah, it
Like,
was-
I know.
once
It
you let the
feels
steam
amazing.
in, it just, you relax so much.
Yeah.
Yes. If it does, it
It's just
feels
like a warm,
amazing.
nice, like spa day massage feeling.
Yes.
Yeah, spa day massage feeling.
And heat is so soothing, right?
Yeah.
So I just find that everything really, really relaxes. It's just,
Yeah. I was super comfortable, super relaxed. Had a great sleep. I was
it's like
excited
the hot
about
breath of the goddess on your
So what if
vagina.
it
the
was
hot breath of the goddess on her
It's
vagina.
honest to God, it's just, it feels
Wow.
unbelievable.
Do you think it would be okay to do it without the herbs? Like just for the heat? Or would you need something?
Well, I was thinking about that. I was thinking, well, you
So
know,
if you
like
have
just
it,
from a
sure,
practical perspective,
yeah.
the heat alone is worth something,
Yeah.
right? Then the medicinal benefits of the herbs releasing their
Even
essential
just
oil.
moon infused water, you know,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Like we gotta try every possible
Write that down.
moon infused water you want. Moon infused water. Yes, we've had moon tea that has we brought that time that we all brought something from our yard. I brought like Johnny jump ups from the yard and stuff, and we got together in Flora's yard that night and just put all the herbs in her stew pot. So the same vag pot. And put it out in the moonlight, and then we all got a bottle of tea to go away with at the end of the night. It was wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
It was wonderful. And the water from it was, you and I have had this chat about Fiji water, about how Fiji water is wetter than other water. Like there's wet water, but even like I add apple.
That's an interesting way to put it.
Yeah, I put apple juice in my water to make it more wet. And
I never thought of it that way. I just find
you
it.
said that the first time that I told you that.
I find it more thirst quenching. I do. I find it. If I'm at the grocery store and I am dying for a drink of water, I will go and find that Fiji water, and it's expensive. But I don't know why. I just feel I don't buy it because we.
Wait,
have,
you just drink it off the shelf
No.
and then put it back? I just
Yes.
go and I look at the bottle of Fiji water and I think I'm so thirsty. But you're so expensive, I can't buy you a drink.
I mean, I don't buy it and bring it home. I don't. Because we have reverse osmosis, right?
Right.
But if I'm looking for a bottle of water, I will invest in that Fiji water.
If you were going to a rave, would you? God forbid. If you were going to a rave, would you
I would-
pack Fiji
I would
water?
pack Fiji water.
Excellent.
Yes. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is not actually Fijian. Is that the right word? I don't know.
Fijian.
Fijian? I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe
I'm
it's
pretty
just
sure-
water from down
I'm pretty
from
sure that water is not from Fiji.
Probably not.
It's called Fiji water.
But if you read, have you ever read the bottle?
No.
Really?
No, I haven't.
It claims claims to be from where it claims to be from.
Really?
Yes, it does.
Well then,
Rolling down off the glaciers, off the mountain.
there's no glaciers in Fiji.
Maybe it's not glaciers, but whatever. It claims to come from. I'm going to Google it. Hold on, let me finish telling Tina.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't recommend it.
Did you do any journaling?
No.
No, I thought to myself, I'm going to journal, and then I had this thing out, and all I wrote on the back of it was,
Man, that's cold.
group.
That's what Art said to me last night. He said, are you, because he overheard the conversation, he said, are you guys going over there and you're all going to steam your vaginas together? And the kids were all there, right?
Yeah.
And I said, no, we're not men. We're not going to have a circle
jerk.
steam. And Hannah goes, oh my God! That's a thing, with men. And I'm like, what? How do you even know these things at 15? Why do you know this?
The
You realize
internet.
that she said, oh my God, because she's wondering how her mother knows. But circle vagina steaming. I think that in a darkened room with candles, with potential, I could even see it like a circle. You remember, this is what I was envisioning when I was doing my steaming last night. During wartime they had those things between the beds of the hospitals with like, it was a frame and then it would have fabric on it.
Yes. I don't remember the war, but yes.
No. But you can see it during wartime. It's in movies from wartime. Like, they use those.
Like a divider.
A divider. Fabric divider. So, can you imagine, like, everybody having their own little tent, right? And you go in there and get your steam all going. Get yourself in your blankie and then take away the dividers. And that way, like, there can be something central to be looking at, so you're not looking at each other. I suspect that would be.
What would we look at? What would be in the center of the room?
Candles.
Fire. It would be cool to do it outside.
Yeah. You need to stay warm, though.
Yeah.
So you'd have your own great pot of wonderfulness.
And just a giant quilt.
Yeah, you know what it's like in Nova Scotia. I mean,
Yeah.
It's hard to
It would be a
find
summertime,
evenings,
August, September.
In Ontario it's different. I mean, here to get a nice hot evening to do that,
Yeah.
it drops down. It dips down at night.
We're gonna do it in your yard.
My yard is perfect.
Your yard is perfect for a circle badge steam.
I might have to get and
It
it feels like spring already.
Yeah, you can smell spring.
Yeah,
Smells
now
like
it's
spring.
Sam,
It's robins.
yay!
Yeah,
It is
Right.
spring.
it is. It feels like spring, and the robins are out.
Yes!
The robins came out this week.
Yeah, yes, we're done. We're done for the badge steaming. Stay tuned for badge steaming episode 2 because we're going to do some different permutations of our herb mix.
We're gonna try something new.
We're gonna try something brand new.
Are we? Oh, we are. Yeah, see, and I had the article on that. Where did that article go?
It's in Arsenic Selves.
Oh, I never even thought to look there. See, I probably posted stuff in there before on steaming, haven't I?
Yes, you have. That's how I came to it. You had posted stuff to
I
we
wasn't
have this
even
little
thinking to look
place.
in there.
All right, I'm gonna stop the camera.
Peace out.
Peace out.